Hey, what is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? We have another review from another company you might not have heard of, or maybe you have more recently. It is the Legato LTX 3085. I know you've been asking for it. It's finally here. Let's dive in. All right, so the first 3 years I had the channel, I did not ever have a request for this Legato ball at all. Hadn't even really heard of it. Now, I did buy one because I found them from one of my dealers, and any type of golf ball that I is in this market I haven't played or seen before, that's what I love to review on the channel. So I snatched one up probably a year ago, but I've just had it sitting in here, not really realizing anyone wanted a review of it. But apparently a couple months ago, a big name YouTuber, I've already forgot it again, I know you've told me, you'll tell me again, apparently there was a big review on it. He said it was better than the Pro V1. He's now using them, or something along those lines, and now there's a lot of people really interested in them, which, first of all, good for them. I mean, that's one of the whole reasons I do this, is to try to bring recognition to the Wright and Ditsons, to the Cut, to the Vice, to these companies that deserve it. Hopefully doing these reviews and reviewing golf balls that other people roll their eyes at or scoff, and I never even heard of that. I play my Pro V1. Get it recognition out there. So I'm really excited to try this out. I know you guys have been asking for it. I mean, yeah, let's dive right in. I'm really excited about this one. Let's start with the price point. Couple interesting things here. The first one is, if you go to Legato's website, it doesn't tell you much about the golf ball, but if you order it from their website, it's about $35 a dozen, which is interesting because you can also get them on Amazon for $29.99 a dozen. Now, the reason that's so interesting is because if you buy them from Legato directly, yes, I understand that, if you want to support Legato, if you want to support, the company and help them grow, I'm sure, it helps them because their shipping costs are not as cheap as Amazon shipping costs. I get all how that business works. But the reality is most people are probably just going to order them on Amazon. And we just got done doing 2 different golf ball models that were $29.99 a dozen. The Wright and Ditson, as well as the Pinson golf ball, which was another underground direct-to-consumer. But the difference is $29.99, you got to pay for shipping unless you buy them in bulk. With this being on Amazon at $29.99 a dozen, you don't have to, unless you're not an Amazon member, which would be kind of crazy. Some people aren't, I know, but I think like 90% of people right now in America are, so it's just insane. So if you are one of those 90% of people who have an Amazon account, have an Amazon Prime subscription, it's 1-day delivery from where I'm at right now. I could literally order a box of these for $29.99, no shipping costs, and have them at my house tomorrow. That's a significant advantage over the Wright and Ditson and the Pinson and all that, because those you're going to have to order from their website. You're going to have to wait. You're going to pay the shipping. You're going to have to probably wait 5-6 days. If you're someone who's like, oh, I'm playing golf this weekend. Oh, I only have 2 balls. I got to order more. It might end up being a situation where you have to go out and just buy whatever until you can get your normal stock back. Whereas with this, 1-day, 2-day shipping to your house in 1 or 2 days, that's a significant thing. I know it seems small, but it does give this ball a genuine advantage. So love the price point. It is 3-piece urethane like the other golf balls I've tested. The Wright and Ditson was a 4-piece, but still, urethane cover, extremely cheap price point, half the price of the Pro V1, and that's kind of what it advertises. That's what a lot of these direct-to-consumers advertise, half the price, but hopefully it's just not half the performance as well. Let's dive into the design of the golf ball. Love the logo. Nice little cursive there. It looks elegant. It looks fancy. I love the number on top. The only thing I'm truly not crazy about is this LTX 3085. I'm sure there's a significance behind that. I know usually with golf balls there are, sometimes like the Mizuno 566, there's 566 dimples. That's great. I don't need it in your name. I don't need to know that there's 566 dimples, and I don't need to see it on the golf ball. So I don't know what the importance of the LTX 3085 is, but if this was just Legato, boy, it would look really, really good. But kind of a minor thing. Basically, the reason I bring it up is because with the LTX 3085, it almost makes me wonder if I found this. Imagine for a second, you don't know what this golf ball is. You find it in the woods, you pick it up, and you see that. You see that right there in the center, and you see that with the 3, you're going to, let's be honest, you're going to look at it and go, I have no idea what this is, and you're going to use it as a junk ball because you have no idea. Whereas if you see the Legato in cursive, and that's all that's there is the nice Legato logo in cursive, you might go, what kind of ball is this? And you might look it up. So it does kind of matter, but it is small. Coming around to the side here, it actually has an amazing alignment tool. They actually advertise it really well. I love that. It's called Bold Track. It's a nice, thick, squared line, exactly how I like it. You can see it from here. I mean, look at that. I can see it on the camera right there. That's something you're going to see when you're putting. I love that they did that. You know, maybe it's not as flashy as like the 360 or anything like that, but a lot of people are going to like this. They're going to like the simplicity of it, and they're going to like how thick it is so they can line their putts up. So really good there. It feels really good. It feels like it has a nice thick coating on it. I mean, really nice. It looks premium. It looks and feels premium. So that's good there. So let's go ahead and get out to the chipping and putting green, and let's see how it does greenside. Let's try that again here. A little bit more of a putting motion. Oh, there it checked up. So you get a little low and a little spinny, and it definitely checks up. All right, let's try this one more time here. A little putting motion. Okay, yeah, that was actually a pretty decent amount. It had a pretty good check up there. Had a firm release. We actually have a little bit of moisture on the green. Must have rained or something. So I'm going to try to hit a really good cut here. Oh yeah, really good there. You could see the spin. I opened the face up and hit a good cut. Let me see if I can get this a little further here. I'll do another one real quick. Really try to open the face. Let's see if I can. Oh wow, yeah, that thing shot left. So there is a good amount of spin on it for sure. Boy, yeah, no, I mean, you can see it kind of tailing left at the end, but that's just a good amount of checkup. There's actually a good balance. All right. Get a good grip here. Okay, pretty dead for the most part, but there is actually a little bit of a click there. I couldn't feel anything, but boy, I could hear it. I actually ended up a little short, so let's go ahead and try that again. Boy, there just isn't much spring off the club. I mean, I keep hitting it thinking, okay, yeah, that's got to get there, that's got to get there, and then it just doesn't. Let me go ahead and see exactly what it takes. Most of these golf balls I've been reviewing lately, they have a lot of bouncy ball effect, which essentially, you know, you barely hit it, boom, it springs off like a bouncy ball. That just does not seem to be the case here. Yeah, it's more of a true roll golf ball. It's more of a, which isn't a bad thing. Some people like that. They like that old traditional style, more tour feel. This actually has a 100% 10 out of 10 true roll. So it's not going to do you any favors as far as if you're used to barely coming back and having a golf ball kind of spring off. This one I'm having to bring my putter back a lot more, and that's with a very heavily weighted mallet putter. So let's go ahead and try the blade putter and let's see how that is, because I'm kind of nervous. All right, so blade putter here. Yeah, the loud is a lot more apparent. Is it going to get there? Boy, not bad. Again, just not a lot of spring. This is a true roll. People who play a more firmer golf ball and like a Titleist or, you know, a tailor-made TP5 or something, and they're used to putting with something that rolls 100% true opposed to having bouncy ball effect, you might like this one because this is a little different than I'm used to. You know, I love it actually. It's just been so long since I've tested a golf ball like this that has this type of feel, this type of click, this type of roll. It's interesting, so I like that a lot. One more time here. Let's try to get one in the hole just for the ball's sake. I love how this feels. Boy, I hope you can hear that click. Now that was mishit, and that's punishing. I mishit that a little bit off the toe, and as you can see, I missed it by about 1.5 feet, 2 feet. Actually, yeah, more 2.5 feet. So that's actually a very, very bad miss. It's not as forgiving as I'd like. Now with the putter, I was actually really pleasantly surprised to see that it had a more traditional style feel. Like I mentioned, haven't had a lot of those lately, so it's really cool to see that again. Really fantastic roll. I love how it comes off the putter. You know, I gave you some feedback when I was hitting, and I think all that holds true. I was actually really impressed with how it is. It was kind of exciting to test something like that again. You know, you test a lot of these value golf balls, and they're more designed to spring off the club so you don't have to come back as far. This one definitely feels more like those traditional buttery Titleist balls. You know, MaxFly's doing that really well. TP5, you know, Chrome Soft X, things like that. Those golf balls that are at the high side of the market and want that true tour-like feedback and performance. That's what it kind of reminded me of, and I think for being more of a budget ball, that's fantastic. You just don't see that a lot. So hopefully the numbers don't represent and come close to that as far as how the Titleist does, because I hope this golf ball performs really well. I'm impressed so far. Okay, so as far as the feel across all golf clubs, it's interesting. It's kind of in the middle. So with the Wright and Ditson, I got kind of addicted to how it felt when you hit it in the center. When you really hit it well, a smile came on your face and you were like, oh man, I want more of that. This ball doesn't have any of that. It's very neutral. It's very, it does have some spring to it, but it feels kind of dead in your hands. There isn't a ton of feedback. Even on miss hits, there isn't a ton of feedback, I'll be honest. It's different. It is more modern feeling. It does have that more squishiness. It's soft. It feels like it's 85 compression. It's not a bad feeling. It's a good feeling. It's just not with what a lot of these golf balls I've been testing have been. There have been golf balls recently, such as the Chrome Tour, the Wright and Ditson, a couple of the Vice models I just tested. They had a really phenomenal feel to where when you hit it in the center, you felt like a superhero. You felt like you had superpowers because you just knew it was coming off the club. Now, I'm not saying this doesn't come off the club well. We're about to see that with the numbers, but it just doesn't feel like it does. So if you're someone who likes that more rocket type feel in your hands when you hit it, you won't like this. This is more neutral, subdued. If you're more of a traditional player and you're just now getting used to all this modern feel nonsense, you actually probably will like it, to be completely honest with you. I think you're going to really enjoy it more than some of the other ones. So let's dive into these numbers. Let's start with the 50-yard pitch, backspin, of course, 8,473, which, you know, let me look here. Wow. Yeah, that is the most I've gotten so far. Now, granted, I have a small size pool. I've only started doing the 50-yard spin recently because I got a launch monitor that would finally read it. This is only my 16th golf ball tested with a new monitor, so I don't have a huge sample size, but I do know that out of all those, this one is now the spinningest golf ball. And I'll tell you what, there was a lot of forgiveness in there too. Even on miss hits, I was getting around 7,500, 7,800. Really good to see there. Sometimes with the golf ball, like the brand new Vice Pro, you miss-hit it, you're looking at like 5,000, and that's really inconsistent to where if you miss-hit your wedge a little bit, instead of stopping by the hole, it's shooting to the back, but not the case here. Really good dispersion, gonna spin, gonna be consistent, which was another thing that Legato really claims on their website. That's their big kind of selling point, I noticed, is they want consistency. So we will be testing for that as well. So really good numbers there from the spin. Let's dive into the 9-iron now. Smash factor 1.25, which seems to be on par with everything we've tested so far. Really good. 132.8, awesome number. Love to see that. 133.4, amazing. 101.8 on your ball speed, which is well above my average. I love to see that. 6.932 on your iron spin, which is right in line with average. Anything at the 7,000 mark is pretty okay. It's going to stop, which is good. I really don't get nervous until I see 6,500 or even like 7,500 because then it's spinning too much and I'm losing distance. But 21.1, boy, it wanted to launch low. So that's something to keep an eye on there. It launched really low. But I'm going to let it fly here because now all you're telling me is that's keeping it out of the wind, but it's also spinning a healthy amount and it's also getting a lot of distance, which is really good. So let's dive into the 7 now, see if that can continue. 1.37 on your smash factor, which is one of the best I've tested. 160.7, which is phenomenal. 162.2, which is phenomenal. 115 on your ball speed. I gained about 3.5 miles per hour of ball speed. I love to see that. 5,674, so that is a little low on the spin there. It's still going to be able to probably hold the green, but not as well as I'm used to. I definitely would want to see if the urethane coating would help with that on the course. And then 16.6, it still wanted to launch really low. Not as low as the Pinson I just tested, but that one was egregious. That was really low. But 16.6 is definitely consistent with what I just got with a 9-iron. It's still wanting to launch low. Now again, I couldn't care less. You want to launch low and you just want to give me that type of distance and that type of ball speed? Cool, I don't care. I'll just keep it out of the wind. You know? At my home course I play at, there's a lot of wind, usually 10 to 15 to 20 mile an hour. That's pretty normal for there. You're telling me that I can have a ball that would keep it under that wind and still get amazing distance? I'll take it. Getting into the 5 hybrid, let's keep it going. 1.37 on your smash factor, which is pretty good, right in line with just about everything else. 170.5, so a little bit of loss of distance there. I'll cover that more in a second. 175.4. 120.6, 47.95 on your spin, which is slightly below average. And a really low launch at 13.6. So I do want to touch base on that for just a second. When I got to the 5 hybrid, things got a little weird. Up until this point, I'd had amazing consistency, amazing dispersion results, really awesome forgiveness. I mean, hit it off the toe with a 7-iron one time and only lost, I think, 6 yards. And I mean, when I say toe, I don't mean like, here's the center, I hit it a little off the toe. I mean like off the toe. I thought it was a complete mishit. I mean, amazing forgiveness. I would say 9 out of 10. One of the best I've tested in the 3-piece urethane range as far as forgiveness goes. And it doesn't change much on the feel. It still really feels like it's really compressing well. When I got to the 5 hybrid, however, I did notice a drop in the forgiveness as well as a big drop in the launch angle. So where this really comes into play is the first couple I hit, the launch angle was 10, 9, 9.5, 10, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. Let me figure this out here. So then I tried to hit, more of a fade, a high cut fade, 11. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, is this golf ball really wanting to launch that low? And it is. Unfortunately, it is. It wasn't until I really slowed my swing down and treated my hybrid more like an iron and just came down on it and really tried to just a nice 160, 170 and get it up in the air. That's how I got to 13.6. That's the only way I could, though. Here's what I will tell you. When I'm just swinging like normal, the ball is a rocket launcher. It absolutely shoots off the club with insane distance, insane ball speed. Awesome. Not probably the best, but top 5 for sure. But I couldn't do that because the launch angles were so low and the spin was so low. Spin 2,500 RPMs, 3,000 RPMs. I just couldn't get it. At one point I said, well, let me go get my driving iron and see if maybe that's a little different. Worse, 7, 8, 7. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen my reviews before and you're like, well, maybe it's just you, I don't launch the ball that low. I just don't. Like I usually have an issue. Like my normal average launch angle with my 5 hybrids probably, actually I have it on here, I'm sorry, 15.9. That's my average, 15.9. A couple balls ago I got 17.5. I know that's really high, but I'm just saying 10 and 9 isn't me. That's the ball. It wants to launch very, very low. And so I kind of had to change my swing. Maybe it needs a little more testing, but I was really disappointed in that regard. Now, I don't want you to think that this is a C or a D or an F performance. It's not. If I swing the club normal, the ball takes off, but it's a little weird because I've got to basically plan on, okay, if it's 180 to the green, I'll use that club and I'll hit it 170, but I'll let it run up on the green because I'm not sticking a green with this thing. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't launch high enough and it doesn't have enough spin. The 4,795 RPM was after I deleted 10 shots because they were all really low. If I hadn't deleted those shots, the average spin would be like 3,300. So not enough to get up in the air, not enough to really stick the green. So it's kind of interesting. It does stay out of the wind. I mean, if you need something like an AVX substitute, this could be your go-to, especially with the price point it's at. So let's see how the driver does, though. If the driver does the same thing, it might unfortunately kill it. But let's see how the driver is. Let's start with the smash factor, 1.48. That is really good, actually. 235.6. That's a gain of 12.5 yards. I love to see that. 243.1. That's a gain of 10 yards total distance. 145.6. That is a phenomenal number. That is the second best I've tested so far. With ball speed, and 2.543 on your spin, which is just a little above average. But again, the way I hit the golf ball, I don't care if it gets a little higher up in the air. No problem with that. And look, 16.1. So for the first time, it actually wants to launch high. So I'm willing to forgive the 5 hybrid a little bit because the driver numbers are phenomenal. It no longer wants to launch low. It wants to launch a little higher, which is good for, it's an 85 compression. It's meant for all swing speeds. You don't want a golf ball that launches really low with a driver. You just don't. Love to see that. Those driver numbers make me feel a lot better about that 5 hybrid. Maybe it's something I need to test on the course a little bit, but overall we have an amazing performance with the 9, an amazing performance with the 7, an amazing performance with the driver. In the 5 hybrid, maybe more testing needed, but right now it's probably like a B- or a C+, somewhere in there, probably. Let's touch real quick on the durability before I get into my final thoughts. Looking at the golf ball and feeling the golf ball, it feels really good. It feels like the coating lasted really well. It's held up. If you look closely, you can see the ball kind of start to have some ridges, especially right here. Now, I will say that I did test this golf ball a lot more than I usually do. I've been kind of working on the swing a little bit, and since I was already testing the golf ball, I figured, hey, I'll just get some extra shots. This is 100 shots. Usually my testing is 70 to 80, somewhere in there, but this is 100 shots. So the fact that this golf ball I would still technically trust it right now. I mean, it actually still feels good. Maybe another 10, 15 shots and it's done. But that actually will get you a round and a half. So that's actually a lot better than some of the other golf balls I'm testing lately. 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, somewhere, probably an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 on durability. I love to see that, especially for the price point. Usually when you pay $29.99 to $35 for, a urethane golf ball, usually they have to cut corners somewhere. It's usually the durability, but not the case here. So I really like to see that. In conclusion, it's hard not to be impressed. We have a golf ball that has an amazing price point, a really good design to it, a great green side, love how it feels, love how it reacts. The feel, maybe not my cup of tea, but considering the numbers I got, it's definitely something I could get used to. It's not a bad feel, like I said. And then you just have really superb numbers across the board. You have that 9 iron, that 7 iron. Who knows, you might not use a 5 hybrid. You might be someone who has a 5 iron and you're pretty good with it. And maybe you don't have those issues that I had. But boy, I had so many issues keeping this ball up in the air with the 5 hybrid. But then once we got to the driver, I was hitting swamp donkeys. You know what I'm saying? I was just hitting them really, really far. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like 3 out of the 4 categories were amazing. Oh, don't even forget about the 50-yard pitch. The 50-yard pitch was the highest spin I'd ever recorded. It's a great golf ball. It is really darn good. Is it worth a shot? If you're playing a urethane golf ball right now, a 3-piece or 4-piece or whatever, and you're looking for something at a price point that's great, boy, the fact that you don't have to pay shipping, $29.99 delivered to your door in a day or two, I can't think of anyone who wouldn't need to give this golf ball a try, especially if you're someone who anywhere in the 85 mile an hour to 110 mile an hour range, if you're anywhere in that, if you've been looking for a cheap alternative to a Pro V1 or a Tour golf ball, or even something like a Tour Response or a Callaway ERC Soft or something like that, that's the 40 or 45 range, if you're like, man, I still just hate paying that, $29.99, it ain't going to get cheaper than that, my man. I can tell you that right now. So I would recommend it to a lot of people. I'm definitely going to be playing with it on the course a little bit to see how it performs out there. Maybe get some more data, more on-field study with the 5 hybrid to see, but gosh, really great performance there. I can see why it got so acclaimed from that other YouTuber. I can see why you all have been wanting a review so bad. A grade, for sure. A grade. I love to see that. So thank you guys, as always. Keep watching, to keep saving, and keep learning. Until next time.